and welcome to the next episode of the Joe Martin Show. Today I am here with Shattered Stories, so can you guys introduce yourselves?
My name is Caleb, and I'm the singer and rhythm guitarist.
Yo, I'm Alex. I'm a lead guitarist.
What's going on? I'm Max, and I'm the bassist.
And my name is Marlon. I'm the producer and then sound engineer too.
So, how did you guys all meet? Like, how did this band come together?
So we come a long way. Well, I know him from high school since freshman year, and we were in orchestra class together, and we just bonded. And outside of high school, we ended up working on a project with one of his clients, Bella. That's her name.
Yeah, I remember her. It was a really good client of mine, and I remember I used to work what's called solely for artists, and most of the time it would be pop artists or hip hop artists because I come from a world of electronic music or hip hop, but mostly hip hop world. And then most of the clients I work with would want to have session players, actual what's called good quality written music, of course. And Caleb was in mind because I found out that I already knew from the get go that Caleb was good with guitar, but I knew Caleb was really good with music wise in terms of music theory. Way in the beginning of orchestra, I remember those days. And then we would see each other over there, right, and just orchestra, just there chilling, and then we would just be there and just chill with music and stuff. And then I remember my client she would want to have a written guitar part, and I once brought Caleb up, might as well. After that, she finished her album, really great work, honestly. And then Caleb, on the other hand, wanted to bring out his vision towards like a really good album. So I was like, you know what? Let's run it, right? Let's run it.
Yeah, and that's how the music stuff happened with me and him. It was just by chance because he invited me to a session.
Yeah.
And then we're like, hey, just make music, And then I met them from skateboarding. Skateboarding at him at a mission park.
Yeah,
And-
me and Caleb, if we were to go chronologically, like who met who first, Caleb and Marlon knew each other first from high school. Around 2018, I used to skate a lot, and I met Caleb through a mutual friend. And although we were both obviously interested in skateboarding, we bonded more through music because me and Caleb were very into a lot of shoegaze, a lot of indie artists at the time, and some post-hardcore. But I wasn't fully into post-hardcore at the time. That comes later. And then, yeah, that's how me and Caleb met. And then, Caleb, you can elaborate on how you met Alex.
And then I met Alex here. There's a park called Zinnia. It's really close to here. And I remember we used to text because we liked each other skateboarding through Instagram. But one time I was with my cousin. We were taking a photo shoot. And this guy was trying to better a trick. And he was asking me how to do it better. And from there, we didn't see each other. And then the next week, we saw each other again. And we decided to actually start hanging out. But that was, 2020?
Yeah, I think so. No, I think I met you and then I took you straight to my house.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Alex
then-
does that to everybody he meets.
Yeah. And he just introduced me to his parents. And it was fun. It was fun. And we just met like that through skateboarding and music. And it was pretty cool. And we still do those things. And we love them.
It's a very classic meeting of the bands.
Yeah. And Nathan, the
Okay, yeah.
drummer, he's not here right now, but I think he's gonna show up in a little
He's
bit.
working.
He's working, and him, you know him.
Yeah, I met him through high school. But he's a guitarist as well, but he recently picked up drumming, maybe 2 years ago.
Yeah, he's so talented.
But he got really good at it really fast.
I was so surprised, and I remember we have a single called "She Was Never Alive," and we were looking for a drummer at the time. I was writing everything, and I really wanted a drummer, And I was like, man, who's gonna be able to play this, And then he was like, hey, I know somebody. He introduced me to Nathan, and I was skeptical, of course, because I didn't know him. But he sent a little tryout clip for that song, "She Was Never Alive," and he played it really good. and from there, hey, learn this other song, and that's how he got into the band, and he's gotten so much better, and he's writing his drums now for a project we're working on. So we're working on new projects and stuff. So that's pretty cool, and he's so good, man. He's so talented.
That's very exciting because the thing I enjoy a lot about you guys is like so far you guys have all like method because of skateboarding, but you guys mesh very well. When I first saw you guys, what I was very impressed is that I always tell bands like that I work with, like, hey, focus on your image, focus on your sound. Because sometimes people focus on their sound too much, but not their image. And like what I found like really iconic, like you have your dyed hair here, you used to have it green, and you guys had like the bandana and all that stuff. So like each of you guys had like an iconic thing to yourselves towards your image, your sound. I mean, I'm pretty sure everybody told you how great you guys sound. And
Thank you.
yeah, it's very
Thank you.
impressive. Like how did you figure all of that out? Like was it like intentional where you guys already knew like we need to work on our branding, our image, or did it just come naturally?
We all have
Natural.
It came pretty natural.
Yeah, we have very different personalities, very different. The only thing me and him share is we're kind of goofy.
Very.
We just don't stop.
And I'm like an in
we-
between. Me and Marlon are like in betweens, and Nathan is almost like polar opposite in
Yeah,
terms
he's
of
super chill. He's
goofiness.
just,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know, he's just chilling.
Matter of fact, it's kind of like a meter. Like actually switch Alex and Caleb. Craziest. Caleb's here, still crazy, but still goofy, but not as less crazy. Not as crazy, and then Nathan would be all the way over there.
Yeah,
He's just super chill.
Yeah, he's the one that has super chill outfits, and we're the one that started wearing wacky stuff. You know, wear a stupid shirt with a cat.
Yeah, so we get a lot of
you know.
our image through skateboarding and early 2000s like emo bands,
Mhm.
because that's what I grew up on a lot. Those early 2000s emo bands, post-hardcore bands.
How did you find them?
My older brother actually.
Oh, okay.
Me too. My older brother showed me post-hardcore music.
So that was the first music I would listen to. That and like 80s music.
And
My mom.
I actually didn't listen to post hardcore at all. I was more of like shoegaze, alternative rock artist.
How did you find shoegaze? Because you mentioned like you found it like
Oh.
in 2018, right? That's before
Yeah,
I think
I
it
love
became like super
shoegaze.
popular.
Exactly, yeah. And I'm realizing that now a lot of bands nowadays are trying to kind of ride off the shoegaze bandwagon. I wouldn't, not bandwagon, but it's the zeitgeist at the moment. Everybody
Mhm.
loves shoegaze. And I discovered it in 2016. I didn't know what it was, but it influenced why I play music now. Because now that I've been playing guitar I played bass for about 2-3 years, guitar for about 6 years. Now that I know a lot about like theory, and this guy's teaching me about sound engineering and stuff. Prior, I had no idea about that stuff, but I just liked shoegaze because I was on the radio one time and I heard an artist. It was like a 90s radio. My dad put me on. I was hearing it and I was just fascinated by their like seamless blend of really pretty chords and heavy sonic tonality. Their ability to blend heavy chords with that sound really almost gross and crazy, but you basically strip away all the effects. They're really pretty chords and really pretty chord progressions.
Yeah, that me too. I also discovered them around like 2017, 2016, and that also drew me in. Just the way the sound just starts to build up, and all the effects, and the way it just feels like you're getting lifted up. Or
All of
something.
us love
I don't know.
shoegaze, by the way. We may not present it directly in our music, but all of us really, really like shoegaze.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially when Caleb introduced me to Love Lies Crushing.
Oh my gosh,
Oh yeah.
that song. Well, that band is so extreme and shoot.
Shout out to them.
I don't even know.
Baby's Breath.
Is it even shoegaze?
Yes.
What do
More like ambient gaze, I guess. It's very extreme on the spectrum of shoegaze, but in terms of like bands that we love, classics, My Bloody Valentine, Sweet Trip, another shoegaze band that we all love would be like another shoegaze band that we
Hum?
listen. Hum is another band that we listen to a lot that's very influenced by that style. So
Slow Dive.
Slow Dive. Yeah. It's their abilities to focus on sonic qualities. That's what influences us heavily. Like on one of our songs, Chest Cavity, the ending is a key change. It basically goes into a major key, and it's this like really pretty major seventh chord, and then almost this like inversion. It's not an inversion, it's just like a different chord, and it's just a really pretty sounding progression, and we're very influenced by shoegaze on on that song.
Are you guys all musically trained, like classically trained, or no? Or
Just
Mm-mm.
just me.
Marlon
him.
and Caleb. Yeah.
My uncle taught me some classical stuff before I even got into orchestra. I mean, I've been playing guitar for a long time, for about
Yeah.
16 years or so, and I'm classically trained, so
Yeah.
that helps me a lot when I'm writing, and I get super inspired by classical music itself.
what I mean classically trained, I mean like you went to the traditional education of music as opposed
I did.
to
Yeah.
as opposed to like just picking up through years. Because some people have like that innate ability of just like picking up music through hearing, and then some people went through like school and all that stuff.
Oh well, before it was by ear, and then I got classically trained. Yeah, and that I think that helped me a lot. And with my writing process, it's everything.
What do you think? What do you think? Like, it made the difference. Like, how did it help you?
Oh, so classically trained because you learn a lot about the way your instrument works, how to communicate. It's because music is a language essentially. So with classically trained, they teach you how to communicate it. You know, and it's like if you try to learn Spanish by just hearing that person talk Spanish, it's gonna take you a little longer than if somebody teaches you how to read it and how to pronounce words. It's the same thing with classical training. They teach you music, but in that aspect.
That's like okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a pretty good way to put it in it, because people have always explained it to me, but it's never been put in that way. So that makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm. It helps a lot, and yeah, going into classical music though, that's one of my biggest inspirations for music too. For scaling and moving around my
You're
instrument.
the first person who's ever mentioned that. Like, what really gets you like inclined in towards classical music?
Shout out Debussy.
Debussy.
Shout out.
I love Chopin and Bach. They're some of my favorite
Oh yeah.
artists, composers. And what draws me in is how they change music throughout a piece. You know how classical music it's movements.
Yeah, there's different movements.
That's how I make music. That's how I do it as well. It's intense, and then it's soft, and then it's climbing. You know, like that. Exactly like that.
Yeah.
Dynamic changes.
If you look at almost all our songs, when Caleb starts developing the chord progression, almost all our songs don't follow a strict like natural major or natural minor as it should. There's always a weird chord that's thrown in there, an accidental. And I love that personally. Post-hardcore does that a lot, actually, because it's like it creates so much tension, and it's like that when you're watching a film and it's the switch up happens and you're just like, I didn't expect that. It's the exact same thing with music. It's like, wow, I didn't expect that chord right there.
Yeah, it's like that suspense silence too in a movie. You know something's about to happen, but you don't know what. You know, it's like that.
Alfred Hitchcock will talk about that, where it's kind of like expanding like a rubber band, and you try to pull that tension as much as you can before it snaps, because like you're expecting it and it's just getting tighter and tighter, and then
exactly like that. It's pretty cool.
And like who else like influenced you guys, like each of you, like in terms of your playing style?
Oh, that's a good question. It's a good question. Do you mean in terms of our music influence or each other, how we influenced each other?
The musical influence, like other artists that influenced your playing.
You can go, Alex.
Okay. Well, my top favorite, if we're talking about artists here, definitely one of the first ones that got me inspired is Silverstein. That is one of the bands my brother would play all the time. Coheed and Cambria, those are good ones. But my favorite right now is definitely Hail the Sun and some Sayison and Pierce the Veil.
What makes them your favorite?
What makes them my favorite?
Yeah.
Oh, definitely the time changes and the chords they use. Their playing style is so unique. I don't know. Every post-hardcore band has a unique style. It's a whole spectrum.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for me, the first bands I ever heard, like the first 3 bands I can remember was Circus Survive, Pierce the Veil, and Story So Far. And I really like how you can just mix pretty and ugly with those types of music.
Mm-hmm.
You can have these really pretty chords, and you just have a scream going on in the back, or you can even have these heavy guitars and this beautiful singing melody.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what draws me in about those types of bands.
The clashing.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the coolest things about this genre is the versatility that it has, and there's a lot of aspects that you can add, and you can add jazz, you can add anything in this type of music, and that's what's really cool about it.
I think that's what's very interesting about how the concept of writing music is where it gets to a point where there's so much versatility where you can put and layer so much things because that's the freedom of it, and that's what's it called, we're really grateful about, is that we just wake up and like, hey, like we have a well structured chord progression, or maybe there's a melody we can lay, like, what's it called, lay out, or what's called you know, the possibilities are endless, honestly. So you know, obviously where it comes to a point where I come from, what's it called, from the engineering world, and you know, helping these guys out when it comes to producing. Most of the artists I look up to a lot is, you know, Pharrell Williams, Jay-Z, because you know, I come from, you know, hip hop, of course. But when Caleb got me into post hardcore, it was very new to me. But I was born in LA, so my brother would show me these bands a lot. Where he would show me My Chemical Romance. I have another brother that shows me Deftones, Depeche Mode, all these other artists that I was very new to, but I've heard of them quite well. Smashing Pumpkins, for example, was something I wasn't very quite fond of before, but I didn't know one particular song was made by them that I was very fond of, and that what really got me into, what's it called, being really experimental and open minded to the genres I'm exposed to, not just only electronic music or hip hop, but I'm really grateful that these guys is what got me into pushing my limits towards, what's it called, expanding to different genres, of course. So when I first met Caleb and we started working, he showed me these bands, and I was like, "He sounds really good. I've heard of these bands before." And I remember I used to mix and produce for like other country music, like other rock music too as well. Not the, what's it called, not very out there. It was mostly experimental stuff, and then also just mostly hip hop and electronic music, and also reggaeton too as well. I'm not very fond of that genre, but I like making the stuff like that too. But getting into post hardcore and, you know, getting to shoegaze too as well is what really pushes the limits when you're becoming a really well written producer and an artist too as well. So I think that, you know, when it comes to writing music, you know, we're just grateful that, hey, we just wake up and like we get to write this stuff honestly down, and that's what's so versatile with the stuff we just write.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, I like post hardcore, but my first musical influence was, my favorite band of all time is the Smashing Pumpkins, and it essentially is what led me to discover shoegaze and other technical bands, because on the surface, the Smashing Pumpkins, he said it before, Billy Corgan, multiple interviews, shout out Billy Corgan. He said it in multiple interviews that he was heavily inspired by Kevin Shields. They're really good friends. Kevin Shields, the guitarist for My Bloody Valentine.
Mm-hmm.
And specifically why? Because I'm not musically trained like Marlon and Caleb. Me and Alex are similar. We just picked up music, and by sheer passion and love, we discovered some theory, and we established our pitch to the point where we could pretty much just riff off each other, improv pretty well, because of we all have a decent pitch, a decent ear. But I specifically love a blend of beauty and sorrow, melancholic. I love that tone in music, and I think the Smashing Pumpkins, in a lot of their records, they establish that tone so well, and that's heavily what I'm heavily inspired by, that tonality in music, melancholic.
Do you think there's certain pros and cons in terms of learning, like starting off classically trained or musically trained compared to just like picking it up? Like, is there any pros and cons to each side of it?
Yeah, I think if you're someone like me or Alex, it demonstrates, if you're not classically trained and you just learn by yourself, it just shows passion, because a lot of times there's people that are musically trained, and although they're decent at it, they don't end up really doing anything with it, because they just don't really have a passion in making music rather than just performing in an orchestra or something, which is fine, but
That's true.
performing in an orchestra and a band are very two different things.
Yeah, it's very two different things. Learning classically and people I learned by ear. Some people are just prodigies. Some people are just born to do it. You know, People are just born and they could just grab whatever and they'll learn it. But being classically trained is cool because you get to learn little details, right? Especially if you're about it, you get to learn little details about dynamics and about keys and about all these different things, time signatures, and you can implement them into music and make something really unique. But the cool thing about not being classically trained is that you sometimes accidentally make something cool because you don't know what you're doing. I don't know how to
Yeah.
explain it.
You're not
You know?
following like, really strict guidelines.
Yeah.
into music.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
you make something that's never been done before because you're not following a formula, you know?
Mm.
And I think that's what's the pros and cons. The pros of classically trained is you get education on specific details, but the cons is that you may limit your creativity. And then of course it's vice versa for the pros and cons for the
Yeah.
not classically trained. You may miss
makes a lot
those
of sense.
details, but you may have more creativity.
'Cause I noticed most bands have that mixture of people who just picked up the instrument and started playing, and then people who were like trained classically. And like for me, like the only way I knew about this was because I'm a big fan of Aerosmith, and Steven Tyler, like his dad was a pianist, went through the formal education, and then his guitarist, which is Joe Perry, just picked up the instrument, started playing rock, and they were able to like mixture that rawness of not knowing like what you're doing, and then that structure of like, okay, I know what I'm doing. We're making these songs, and just run with it.
Yeah, that happened with me and Alex. There's a song called "Early Joy is Temporary" in our album, "The Sounds of Vision and Failure," and I started playing a regular 4/4 riff, you know, and then this guy, I told him, "Hey, write the first verse, right, or the pre-chorus," and he started doing this weird thing. And he's not classically trained, but he
Yeah.
started doing something really cool. And when I was trying to write drums for it, I was like, what the hell? Like, how am I gonna? And then I figured it out. It's because he's just creative, you know. Like it was correct musically. It was correct. He wasn't off time or nothing, but it was unique because of the rhythmic changes he was doing between that riff, and that's what was cool because he's not classically trained, but he did create something really cool, and that's
Yeah.
what's really special about Alex. It's his ability to write without being classically trained. He actually just picked up the instrument like 3
Where do you think
4
that
years
comes?
ago.
Where do you think that comes from, Alex? Like where you like just created a riff, and where's all of that come from in your mind?
I kind of just sit in my room and play.
See?
That's pretty much. I think that's where most of it comes from.
Do you like write down the ideas or no? Like because I would mention like after a while, like you come up with so many ideas and like you gotta record them or something so you won't forget them.
Yeah, pretty much in voice memos or GarageBand. I make like little things.
Those are your best friends for memory, especially
also-
when you wake up in the late night thinking about something. You just write it real quick and then go back to sleep.
Also
Yeah.
mention that, Alex, like your favorite genre is a pretty technical genre. They use a lot of interesting stuff.
Oh yeah, I do
musically.
listen to a lot of math rock too.
So, yeah. So if you listen to math rock and that's like the first genre you want to play as a guitarist, you're gonna have to get good at guitar. Like it's not like indie where you could learn like, or not indie, but any other genre where you can learn like basic open chords. No, math rock, you have to get good at guitar if you want to play that.
I mean, and despite the matter of what's it called, being classically trained and stuff, it's to a point where we write our music to an extent of we go based on intuition, what sounds right, or what goes based off on our feels. And so that's what's so really great about it is that there's a really good background when it comes to classically trained, but also there's a not a philosophy, it's more of a, I guess, a saying where it's like they would say you don't need music theory to make music, or you don't need some sort of, I guess, some sort of background to make good music. But usually most of the time, what makes a really great song, honestly, is just, going based off your feels or your intuition of what sounds really, really good. And so I think that's what glues everything together when it comes to making our tracks. Because what's it called? Me putting, elemental stuff when it comes to electronic music. I don't recall what songs have a good amount of electronic stuff.
We have electronics in most of our songs.
Most of the
And
songs.
you helped me out with that
Yeah.
because I'm not very familiar with electronic
Yeah.
And so I would ask him, hey, what do you recommend? You know?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, I have this little synthesizer here. You want to use it? I'm like, okay.
he goes crazy with that. So I was like, you know what? Let him use a synth. Why not? And
Yeah.
I show him the stuff where what's it called? For example, I like electronic music a lot. So there's this subgenre called hybrid trap or dubstep. Everybody knows dubstep. There's a specific type of subgenre of dubstep that's called there's bass house, there's hybrid trap, there's rhythm. Everybody, I'm not actually everybody, but some good amount of audience knows what rhythm is, and it's usually just a two-step rave music, honestly, what people were gonna call them. But in the EDM world, I show him the elements of what comes to mind when it comes to sounds of like bass house or bass synths, and we just use that into like intricately in one of the songs. So there's elements of rhythm, or there's elements of bass house, some sort of way. Most of the drums we use electronically wise is mostly inspired because Aphex Twin, this guy showed me Aphex Twin. I've heard of him before. I just never got into it too close because, to be real, most of the artists I've heard nowadays lately that have been around, my brother would show me these, punk rock music or post-hardcore music. So when I've heard of Smashing Pumpkins, I just never got too quite close to them or fond of them. That's where I started to get mostly influenced by little to implement the things we put in our tracks, honestly. So, but ever since then, Smashing Pumpkins. This guy barely just showed me My Bloody Valentine. You know how old I was? I mean, it was like what, last year? Or something like that. So I'm barely getting into it, but
might as well.
might as well, yeah.
Because I think lately it's been like the rebirth of shoegaze.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
been a rebirth.
yeah.
Yeah.
And kids out here are loving it. They love shoegaze.
And that's how pop culture works. Everybody knows that something is underground, it rises to fame, and then it kind of goes back. It's like a teeter-totter motion. And shoegaze, but I find that very weird because shoegaze never really had a prolific period. It kind of came out in the late 80s, started, the My Bloody Valentine came out with its like 1991 Loveless. Everybody knows that one. And then it just kind of like a couple of bands are influenced, but around like the mid to late 90s, it just died. And I just find it very interesting how that works because nowadays you have a lot of bands like Quanic, Novulant, Wisp, so many bands nowadays that are pretty prolific now, especially on TikTok. And I think TikTok obviously has a huge
Been helping a lot of different genres.
Yeah.
Yeah, it opens doors pretty well. And what I like about TikTok is it's they help you grow, For say you go live and on Instagram live only your followers probably will show up. But and TikTok live you'll see like 4,000 people like
just randomly.
TikTok will push you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why things get popular out there.
Has that been part of your success? Because you guys have been getting pretty popular. Like your numbers have been going up. And I think you guys like post stuff on TikTok. Like, do you think that's like really been helping you guys out?
Oh yeah, the posting on TikTok especially is what's been helping us. That's where we were getting a better fan base there.
Yeah.
On Instagram, people are a little more quiet and more conservative, and on TikTok they're more outgoing. More expressive. Like, hey, I like this, or hey, I don't like this. It's like that, and its feedback is the best because that's how we get to improve.
Yeah.
With the good and the bad. With the good things, keep doing it and add to it.
Yeah.
With the bad things, tone it down and replace it for something better.
Yeah, that makes sense, and I think that's why I think TikTok is like a really good platform, is because it's an open platform. Like you mentioned, Instagram, it's always just the people that are following you. It's really hard to reach out to other people unless like you're paying for the advertising. Same thing with Facebook. TikTok, it will randomly show you to different people's algorithms based on whatever their interest is. So there's a higher chance of other people just finding who you are without even having to pay for advertising. You can go viral just posting some dumb shit. Like, it happens. One of the bands I follow from Houston, Orion 224, those guys posted some kind of like random. They were just some character. I forgot who it was right now. And they were playing like the Weezer drum part.
I know that band. I know that band. I know what band you're talking about.
And Weezer found out about that thing, and they just reposted it, and it got like 2 million views. So
yes,
it's just random shit goes crazy, and
it's so funny. I could literally just post me throwing that water bottle at him during an interview.
Yeah, it'll like pop off.
Sorry.
It's a double edged sword though, because although you could pop off and go viral on TikTok, it could be for something that you don't necessarily want to be known by, you know.
Yeah, that too.
And like, oh, people know you by this one stunt, but not your music, and then you have this image that's attached to you that you can't really shed off. So it's a double edged sword. I would say you just got to be a little bit
Yeah.
careful with what you post on TikTok, because yeah, you can become famous like off something that you don't even want to be famous by, you know.
Yeah, that's why I need to tell people, like, if you're gonna incorporate trends, make sure it's like related to your music. That way,
Exactly.
there's
Yeah.
a connection. But some people make it work because the band I'm working with, like in a couple of months, is Mindside. He's in the band, like it's very popular, but most people know him for the indie boyfriend skits. I'm not sure you guys know him, or
I don't think.
I don't think
Are they
so.
From
let
here?
me show you a picture. Huh? No, they're from California.
Oh,
Mindside. Let me see. I can show you a picture real quick. But like, I think like for him, like the issue is that he's gotten so popular off the TikToks that like I'm not sure how many people know him for the band. Like he did,
Oh, okay, yeah. I see. You become
Yeah.
popular on the side of your band, but
Yeah.
people don't know what you do. Okay.
like Steve Lacy when he
Oh
was an underground indie artist, he dropped Bad Habit.
oh yeah.
this guy.
Show sold out, but
Yeah, I wouldn't even think. he was in
everybody
a
that
band.
went to his
That's
show
crazy.
didn't know a single lyric to his song.
What's it? And he has a band.
Yeah. The band's called Mindside.
Oh, Mindslime.
Mindside. Yeah. But like again, he's mostly known for like for the indie boyfriend skits where like he talks to different. Yeah.
Oh.
But the thing is, I mean, it's worked out for him because like when San Antonio didn't book him for some reason. I don't know what happened, but like the rest of Texas did, and so I told him like, you know what, like I reached out to their agent, and it's like, hey, like, you want to come to McAllen? And I'm like, yeah. I was kind of scared because as a promoter, you kind of have to like get into the business sides, like, oh, like is it worth booking this band or not? Like, are they popular? I had no idea. What I usually do is like I look at it mutual. So like if I follow like a bunch of people in the scene, I could kind of see like, okay, this band is really popular with the scene, this band's not. With them, they weren't. But then when I posted the announcement for the show, it went crazy. Like it got like 500 likes. So yeah. So I'm like, okay, maybe as a band they are popular, and it's not just the TikTok side. Like you can actually help out your band through this platform.
Yeah, that's good. But being able to know how to push your
music,
content,
yeah.
it's one of the best things for you. But it's hard, man. I'm not good at it. I
Who
try.
like figures out like the social media part and like what to clip, what to post?
Me
what
and
to create?
Alex. Lately, he's been working a lot, so I've been trying to come up with whatever I can. I work really hard, and there's times where I lack on it because I run out of content. You know, it's
Yeah.
hard. It's not just like a funny skit where you can just come up with whatever on the spot.
Mhm.
Like you have to have the whole band to make a really good clip. You know,
Which one has been like the most successful for you guys?
Drain Afraid.
yeah. Well, the songs or what technique or
No, like in terms of like TikTok, like what worked for you guys the best, like in terms of content?
for me, it's me lip syncing.
Yeah, the Drain Afraid.
Yeah, someone recording me and I'm lip syncing our song Drain and Afraid. That's been working. We've gotten I think one like 14K the most
Yeah,
or 20K.
this is a Drain and Afraid. That one's been doing the best.
Is that also like your most listened to song as well, or
think so. It's our more
Climbing.
popular right now because
Climb in terms of like relative to when we released it. Yes.
She Was Never Alive is our first and our most listened, but Drain Afraid is our most recent and it has a lot of views really fast. So it has
But
it's-
it's climbing. She was never alive. That's
Our most
Oh
recent.
yeah.
it's our second to last. Our
'cause we
most
just
recent-
released a new song.
that one's also doing good, right?
Yeah, it's doing all right.
It's called The Sweet Recital, and
Yeah. I like that one.
and then that one is it's crazy. It has a lot of stuff going on. Yeah.
I had fun mixing Sweet Recital and then I think the fun track I've worked on, I'm gonna be honest here. This is just me being honest. The most fun track I had working on was for sure Don't Take the Fall and obviously Drain the Fade. Drain the Fade.
yeah. That
Um,
one's not doing like that crazy. It's pretty good. It's
But
pretty
I
good.
love Don't Take the Fall.
which one has been like each of you guys' favorite song in the
Actually,
band?
that's a good question. Which one's like your favorite song?
I think for me, it's this one single that's not gonna be in any album. I think it's called "Not Your Type of Entertainment," but it's because of all the little things that I added in there that made it so fun for me, and because one of our friends, Noah Sorrell, we met him at outside of a mall playing guitar to get home. Literally, I think he was trying to get home, right?
Yeah, it was.
And he sang with us there, and it sounds so good.
The
So
most
that's my favorite.
beautiful voice ever. I've heard of it. Oh my goodness. It's
Yeah,
really,
when
really
we got
good.
to the mall, he gave Caleb one of the guitars, and they were just singing "Hold On Till May."
Yeah, it was cool. That was cool. What's yours? You never said what's your favorite track, right? I don't think we ever talked about it.
I think my favorite is maybe Anions.
Yeah.
I really like that one.
Yeah,
Making that riff was really fun.
Yeah, he's the mastermind behind that song. I think he wrote most of
of
the
songs.
parts. And
What's your favorite song, Caleb? Like that you've made?
yeah, not your type of entertainment.
Now you're typing it. That's
Yeah.
a good one. Mine would probably be. That's hard. Mine would have to be Chest Cavity or Drained and Afraid.
What makes them your favorite?
Chest Cavity, the ending, the key change that I explained, it's very shoegazy, it's very atmospheric. The direction of the song, the rhythm, it starts with these. We all start on the same note, and then it just starts building up and building up and building up, and then the chorus. I just love that song. It's so good. And then Drained and Afraid, that one specifically is the accidental Caleb put in there, which is really on the bass. And Caleb's vocal work on that one's really good. And yeah, mainly that though. That's what makes those songs my favorite that I can think of.
I think my favorite song most of the time. I think I already said it. It's just take the fall. Take the fall. That one has an interesting story, I believe. That was really fun. I love saying the story a lot. We were gonna go record that song in what's called at this guy's place, and keep in mind this was in South Padre, and what's it called? We had to stay there for quite a while. It was a 3-day, 3-day session, wasn't it? Right?
It was 3 days.
It was 3 days, and apparently we started recording guitars. We finished recording two rhythms, this and that, some leads, and then after that, we were about to record vocals. After we were done, we were actually about to record vocals. I have a specific vocal chain process I have to record in, and while in the process of recording vocals, I have this what's it called? There's this process or technique wise called recording with auto tune, of course.
I thought it was a DS or no too.
It was also I think that was before.
The crash.
Yeah, it was. I had this what's it called, a free version auto tune plugin that what's it called, just to save cost, of course, because we didn't have much funds in the time. But what's it called? That's this free plugin. I'm not gonna put a name out there because that plugin right there was quite nice. And out of nowhere, I bought a new MacBook. And actually, let me rephrase that. It's actually just a used MacBook. It was a used MacBook, and then I installed the plugins and everything. While in the process of recording vocals, we just finished a whole chunk of like the whole session, and out of nowhere, that plugin just crashed my whole session of FL Studio. And keep in mind, I'm using FL Studio. The what's it called? The new MacBooks came out with this processor called M2 or something like that. And that day was really, really a buzzkill because we just recorded this whole bunch of takes, and like my goofy didn't, saved it. Not only that though, that plugin just ruined the whole thing, all because it crashed. And we were like, I was panicking because I was like, dude, the amount of work we're doing, and I'm trying to solve what plugin got this session crashed. I was like, oh my goodness. I found out that it was that auto tune.
We did finish it that same trip though,
and
right?
we finished that same trip because we were like, you know what, dude, let's make the investment.
I think you should mention that plugin just to make sure like somebody else doesn't go through that issue.
You know what, might as well. It's the Melda Productions auto tune. It's the M auto tune. So they make a series of plugins where they make M tremolo or M saturation. So that plugin, it's all because of it's free. I don't think it's a bad plugin. I think it's because one, lack of updates. I always tell everybody, back up your hard drives, update your computer, and update everything you can. Because if you don't update those, you get, you're gonna eat shit, and it's just inevitable. So I always tell my producer friends and anybody who engineers are starting out, don't buy cracked plugins. Don't always update your stuff, and just be prepared because if that happens, it's the worst feeling ever. And so but we still had the drive. We were like, what's it called? You know what? let's run the shit again, dude. Let's run it again.
Yeah, I was like, nah,
we made
whatever.
an
let's just
investment.
keep
We
going,
bought a
man.
proper anti-terrorist plugin, and we were like, you know what? Let's just fucking do it. Might as well do it already. So good thing we had this drive and we had this like passion where it's like, you know what? I don't mind doing it again, because most of the clients I worked with, they would just record and call it a day, and they just pay you. That's it.
Yeah.
I'm not. For me, I'm never about the money. I'm mostly about where it comes to making music. That's my purpose and passion. Most of these guys are about passion and purpose. So that's why I love these guys most of the time, because, like I said before, it's just about waking up and the fact that, hey, there's like ideas to be put down on paper, and it's an amazing feeling because there's that much freedom that you're able to put. But not only that though, most of the clients I work with, they're lovely as well. But I think it's most where it comes where it's about how much work and passion you're putting into your music is what matters a lot. Screw the money. I don't need your money. That's the thing. That's what I always tell people. And it's to a point where it's like, as long as you make something really sound good, that's all that matters. If it sounds really, really good and it sounds and what's it called? It puts a special place in people's heart. That's what really matters a lot. So,
in what ways do you feel like this relationship has helped both of you guys? Because I'm pretty sure maybe like if you're just a band making music, you don't really take into account I guess like the technical aspects of recording music.
Yeah.
How do you think like it helps you guys together?
Well, I've learned a lot from him. There's for say something happened to him during a session, I could continue it.
Yeah, I'm glad.
And-
I give props to this guy because Caleb wasn't very familiar with FL Studio or the software we're working on, and I give him props because all I had to do was let him sit in the computer, and he knew what he was doing. He already got the gist of it, and so I mean, in general wise, most people can learn a software quite easy. Same thing with Alex. Alex knew how to get on a software, and he just knew his way around. So I help these guys around with how to show where to put their software on most of the times. But I'd say that helping wise, how Caleb and the band helped me mostly is pushing ourselves. The one big props I give to Caleb, this is me to you, bro. Straight up, I'm telling you straight up, bro, is that I give you thanks and I appreciate it that you push us, because without that pushing, we won't get to our limits. We won't see what our goal is. So I give most props to Caleb that he pushes to our limits to the point where we can become really, really great. And that's what sets off, our sound, our band, of course. So it's mostly Caleb and Alex that push us to our boundaries, so we can become, greater musicians and greater sound, of course. So I give them mostly props on that too.
Oh yeah. Thank you. But I feel like everybody here has worked really hard, and you too, man.
Yeah.
I think you've done such a great job, and we wouldn't be here without you because you gave us the tools.
Yeah.
We might not have this expensive real life Shadow
Yeah.
Hills or nothing like
Or
that.
the Neve consoles never.
No, we have the most minimal things, and we
Yeah.
just work with minimal things, and
Yeah.
it's that's what's been so fun about it, working with whatever you have. It's like you getting thrown out there and you just get a rock and try to make a fire,
Yeah.
It's like that.
Yeah.
And we don't have this giant studio. We don't have these expensive mics or guitars,
We just recorded in my apartment, man. That's all it is. Just recorded in my apartment. And then I always tell these guys, hey, lower down your voices because my mom's asleep.
Yeah,
And I'm
literally, his mom's there, and we're all just like, let me see.
and then these
You know,
bros in the
like-
closet just yelling. I'm like, holy smoke.
Yeah,
It's like
when I
12 in the
record
morning.
vocals,
Yeah.
I'm always like, oh man.
No, but that's
Here we
the fun
go.
of it. That's the fun of it, honestly. So
What's been like some of the most fun experiences for each of you guys, like when it comes to being in the band?
Oh man.
the
yeah.
shows, honestly, I love helping them in the shows, honestly.
I don't
It's
even
so
know
fun.
it. It's all super fun. It's just being able to hang out with your friends, because they're my friends. They're not just my bandmates. The funnest part is is talking about the experiences after a show, or sitting and talking before we record something. That's my favorite part about being.
What
in
about
a
you
band.
guys?
I say a funny moment is definitely when we were recording Take the Fall, Drag the Pieces, because I was working a burger job. Don't search it up, you'll find images. I was working a burger job, and I heard about everything that happened. So I'm in McAllen, right? So right after I get out, I drive all the way to South Padre. And these guys are just sitting there. I was like, hey, I'm here. Yeah, pretty much. It just started recording again.
Yeah. We were all just bummed at the beginning, but we just had to
Yeah.
push yourselves up, like, hey, it's not the end of the world. You still got the fingers, still got the guitars. You can still do it.
A fun experience. Well, my favorite part about being in a band in general is the progression of yourself as a musician. Because prior to being in the band, although I played guitar, I played a little bit of bass. I didn't really have passion in it, and it's kind of like the point of life is you throw yourself into something and you find your passion in it. And now that's been my favorite thing, seeing the evolution of each of us as a musician. But in terms of funny moments, there's been a lot of funny moments, but I love playing live. Like live shows is so fun. And one of the funniest things is just small things that happen live that people don't notice. Like for instance, what happened was
look at Nathan, guys.
something that happened in a live show one time was Alex was playing lead, right? And Alex used to use this combo amp that had all these presets instead of actual pedals. And that amp gave out mid-session and I was playing and I remember hearing just the thin guitars with no effects or anything, and I'm just looking at Alex and I'm like, what are you doing? And I didn't look at him. I didn't think at the time, like, what are you doing? I just remember thinking, like, why does this sound like that? And then later he tells me, oh, my combo amp, like, just like something happened with it mid show, and I thought that was so
Also with
funny.
that amp, when we would practice at the drummer's house, it started smoking.
Oh shit!
It just started blowing up. Shout out Fender.
Yeah, that's so funny. Just all those small little things that happen live. I think one time Caleb was playing at a show and his strap broke, and conveniently there was a chair placed in front of him, and he instead of trying to put on the strap mid-song, he just puts his leg up on the chair and props his guitar on his knee and starts playing. And I didn't think that it was because he was trying to compensate for the strap breaking. I thought that was just for style. And later he tells me, oh, actually my strap broke. And I thought that was the coolest thing ever.
No, yeah, because like even in marching band, you get told like if you're making a mistake, don't make it obvious, because most people in the audience, they're not gonna know like if you're doing well or not. If you make it obvious that you're making a mistake, then they're like, okay, he fucked up. But the fact that like he took advantage of the chair, it's perfect.
Yeah, it's just like critical thinking at its finest.
Are you talking about the time where my strap broke?
Where your strap broke and then you put the chair and you just propped your foot up and your guitar, and that was so cool.
That was pretty random, man. The show must go on. I always say that. One thing I don't believe in is messing up and redoing.
Yeah.
I don't like that. I don't like when someone makes a mistake, just keep going. They have to catch up to you, you know? It's just how it is.
Well, we're talking about funny moments. Nathan, welcome.
Welcome, introduce yourself.
To introduce myself, my name is Nathan. I am the drummer for Shattered Stories, and I am glad to be here.
Okay, talk about your most funny moment.
Most funny moment is probably middle of the set, like stabbing my eye out, and like just a drumstick. Like,
what did you say happened to you at Walrus with your seat?
oh well, they're like sometimes when we get rushed, we try to set up fast. Or like I try to go around certain things like while setting up, and it usually ends up bad. Like for example, the last show was I was too backed up onto the stage at Walrus, and I basically had like the charging outlet like all up on me.
Oh shit!
Like next
when you
to
forget
the
your
drum
seat?
throne. Yeah, next to the drum throne.
Oh my god!
Good thing I didn't forget the drum throne. If not, I would have had to rest on the actual output.
Oh shit!
But yeah, like stuff like that. That's kind of like, it's just awkward because, I mean, you're like all up on the show. Nobody's really paying attention. It's more like a behind the scenes, like little hiccup.
No, yeah, that happens. And I heard people like, I forgot which, I'm not going to mention the venue, but I heard certain people had experience where they would, the guitars would get electrical shocks because.
It's happened to me with mics.
With mics?
Microphones, yeah.
And I'm like,
I got a bee on me.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, there's a bee. Nah, they don't do anything.
No.
Don't worry, guys. But yeah, mics, I've been shocked a few times because of ground issues.
Yeah, ground issues.
And I'm like, And I'm about to scream, and I just get a shock on the tooth on accident or
Oh, yeah, I
something.
remember.
That's because I don't. Sometimes I don't
Oh
touch
heck
it,
no.
but the voltages are so high that even being like this close, I'll get.
There you go.
Sorry.
It's because he's
Sorry.
scared. It's gonna shock.
Yeah, I don't know why thinking about the mics made me go like this
Yeah,
with
yeah.
the mic. Well,
It's very interesting. Like when you have the headphones on, it actually makes you pay attention to
Yeah.
your mic posture.
But it even being this close sometimes with bad grounding will shock you, and it's
That part I didn't know.
yeah.
Fuck.
I've been shocked on the teeth before. It's really weird. It's really weird. There's electrons all over, you know.
Yeah, I had to try it because at practice it was doing that too. It feels pretty weird.
It feels pretty good.
Oh,
It was pretty good. Being shocked in the mouth. Really nice.
Yeah.
Nice touch.
What's and like? Have you had any kind of like scary experiences when it comes to like performing out there? Like just does that kind of freak you out? Because people always talk about like you there's like a lot of fun, but sometimes there's like weird shit that goes on like that freaks you out. For example, when I was working with a band called Artro, I was trying to like set up a USB because like you need to like format it to like make it work with the sound thing, whatever. Some random like drunk guy tries to like get inside the van with us and like the band van. I'm like, what the fuck? And we're just like, kind of like kick him out, just like, hey, what are you doing?
Man, I don't think we've had scary instances, right? I mean, being nervous doesn't count, guys. There
What
has
about-
to be something.
Okay, what about
scary.
what about supernatural stuff? Anything like that or no?
supernatural stuff? Not
Like
the
freaky
band
shit?
stuff in real life, yeah, like in here, but not out there, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Never anything supernatural. I mean, we've had like you said, we've had hiccups and stuff, but they're not scary. It's just part of the show, you know.
Dang.
I've never had anything scary happen to us.
And
Yeah.
of course, we've had the drunk guys and stuff too.
Yeah.
Maybe like after the show, because whenever we go to Stripes,
Oh, yeah.
me and Caleb, something weird happens.
Yeah,
Every
I don't
time.
know why. Every time we go to Stripes, we always see something weird happen.
It's
you
because
know?
it's stripes. Stripes at night it's like a different vibe.
It is.
In the morning, it's like all the workers getting like their tacos, but at night it's kind of like you never know what's gonna happen in there.
No, bro. You see some guy trying to fight some other like two homeless guys fighting with like a light post or something. I don't know.
No, yeah, that happens.
And me and Alex have a lot of experience with homeless people because we skate. We used to skate everywhere. And
Mhm.
there was this one time, this guy. Remember when we were skating with everybody? And some homeless guy told me, "Hey, come here." I was like, "Oh, okay." I was like, "Okay."
The new song dropping.
He took off his necklace, and I was like, "Okay." It's like, "Here, give us this to your girlfriend." And I was like, "What?"
Y'all remember the time where we almost got jumped at the nail place? There is this guy that came up to us, this tall guy, and he's looking at all of us all oddly because we used to skate. That's how we all met. And we were skating. It was me, Alex, and Caleb. I remember it was like, I mean, in his defense, it was 3 a.m. We shouldn't be skating at that time,
Oh, yeah.
but it was at this weird nail salon place. We were skating this gap. This guy comes up to us and he's like, "Are you guys from here?" And I was super naive at the time. I was stupid. So I just thought, oh, this guy was just curious. You know, you see skaters. Maybe he used to be a skater.
Yeah.
No, he was looking at our pockets. He was kind of shaking, asking did we drive here? And I think my dumbass told him, yeah. And so he walks over and this other guy, 2 of them start walking up to us aggressively. And we both just left, went to the Jeep and just drove off because like we were about to get jumped.
Yeah, and Caleb left his phone, so he had to awkwardly go run and get it
Bro, oh my god,
again.
dude! I don't remember. Damn. Yeah, I always leave my phone everywhere. I forget small things like keys, phone, wallet. So
wallets,
every
yeah.
time I'm in this guy's house, I leave. I'm like, what's up? Oh, okay, bye. I come back. Oh, I forgot this. Hold up. And then okay, now bye. And then I'll come
And
back for
then-
another thing. You know?
Shout out to our friend Aaron.
Oh yeah, Aaron, the skater.
Yeah,
Aaron,
our homeless
yeah.
friend Aaron.
He's homeless too. He lives in a U-Haul. Actually, he's not homeless basically. I guess he lives in a big U-Haul box,
Yeah.
and he skates every day, everywhere, and he's pretty cool.
Yeah, he's pretty cool. He watched us grow up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So like how do you feel like that's like skateboarding affects your life? Like what made you guys get into skateboarding and all that stuff?
Definitely my older brother, cause he was in, I think he was in Warped Tour and Dew Tour for some BMX stuff, but he also had some skate sponsors back in the day. He was on newspapers and stuff,
Oh damn, that's pretty
so
cool.
I got really into it from him.
I mean, since I was a kid, I've always seen it from afar. I've always loved it. My neighbors would skate, but Skate 3 really got me into it, the game. And I remember my cousin had a Walmart board, and I asked him, "Hey, can I use it?" And I started just learning whatever I could. And I was like 15, 16. Yeah. And boom, I just started skating every single day, learning everything I could. And I still skate to this day because it's exercise for me.
Yeah, we all skate, but they skate. Caleb skates more than us at the time because Caleb just loves it that much. I got into it randomly. It was like 2015. I've always been kind of like not an outsider, but if there's a hobby that's kind of lame in the scene or in the space, I get curious, like, why don't people like it? And I try and discover it, you know? And that's how it was with skating. 2015, it was lame. I loved it. I got into it, and it influences us musically because skating is literally just, you have a piece of wood and you're just trying to make art out of it. Art, you're trying to make, you have a trick or a line in your mind and you're trying to manifest it. That's the same thing as music, you know? Like, we have limited equipment, but we all have passion, and we're just trying to manifest our ideas into sound. And I think that's how it influences us musically. And yeah, I still skate here and there. I still love it. And I didn't mention this, but skate videos, that's how we get a lot of our music too, because skate videos have amazing soundtracks, music, the way they place music and the way it synergizes well with the skateboarders. That's very influential on our music as well. So,
Yeah, funny story.
Oh, go for it.
So in high school, I remember I was with Nathan, and he wanted to try my skateboard. So he hops on it. He tries to do a trick, and he breaks my truck.
Oh,
So
How do you break metal?
How do you break
My
metal?
truck just-
flat ground.
It just
what do you
snapped.
do or what
It
happened?
just
my
snapped.
skate truck just snapped in half.
Oh, fuck.
It was crazy.
They break, but I've never seen. It wasn't flat ground.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
like
Oh my gosh, bro.
gravel.
Physics right there.
I've broken.
So I was
trucks
trying to ollie.
downstairs.
I was trying to ollie, but when I came back down, like the nose of the truck
That's so.
just snapped, and then
On
just
flat ground, jeez,
it like
man.
I felt like some cracking, and I just felt like a daunting stare from Alex, like away.
I bet you they
and,
were.
like,
Were they the tensor
no.
trucks?
I was really yeah, it was a tensor. I was really confused because how do you do that?
I feel like he was more confused than I was.
I
like-
feel like you probably, because beginners, they tend to smack the board on the ground instead of just
Like lightly, like
gliding
falling.
and
Well, yeah,
letting
probably that
gravity do
too.
the rest.
I mean, I don't get it. I don't know how to skate.
Yeah.
Like at least on a board.
so you
That's
probably
a whole
just
different
were
thing.
like, oh, I have to.
It's because Nathan rollerblades.
Oh yeah.
What do you feel like?
Yeah.
What do you feel like are the differences between like rollerblading and then being on a skateboard?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, obviously you feel air going through your feet at least better than like when you're like using rollerblades. But other than that, I don't know. I feel like I think it's a different. I think it's a different type of balance for sure. But I mean, they're kind of in the between of each other, so they should go along. But I can't get the hang of it. I'm more scared of being on a skateboard than.
Marlon Healy.
I don't know. I think I'm like the only one that doesn't do like anything like that. Like I guess like the only sports I play is just soccer, but that's just the minimum. But other than that, I just like, yeah, I just do music, and then I always hear this guy's like, bro, we're gonna go skate. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, that's fine. It's
That's
like as
just
long as you're not
amazing,
late
man.
to the
Skateboarding's
studio
amazing.
is what I'm worried.
No, but you used to do some type of skating, right? You're sponsored by Stripe.
Oh, my
Sponsored by Stripes.
Oh my goodness. Eventually, maybe it's because my brother also skates too as well, like back then in LA. And what's it called? I guess eventually I would have to like learn how to skate too. I don't know. I'm not a. It does intrigue me. It looks interesting. I think it's cool.
Extreme sport.
But I don't know. I eventually probably will jump into that. Who knows? I don't know. I'm like I don't want to hit my head, or I just get too scared like that. But I don't know. I think it's cool though. I think it's awesome.
It's definitely something cool that I've seen. It's just like where I come from, like there's not really skate parks. Like they barely added a skate park in Elsa, so like
Mm-hmm.
we're barely getting skaters.
Really good.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a good park. Oh yeah,
I feel
that
like
competition was good.
I feel like when you're like rollerblading compared to like skating, it's like you have to be like all in it because you can't take them off.
Yeah, you can't
It's
take
like
them off.
they're stuck to you. Like
The only
either
thing
you
about-
learn how to brake or like you're gonna hit
there-
something and
There's
then
one
you'll
thing
stop.
that's scary about skate bailing though, is that you don't know where the board's gonna land sometimes.
Oh
And you
yeah,
can
I
land
had to go to the
popsicle, bro.
hospital. I've had to go to the hospital because the board actually like cut my leg when I.
Or remember when you had that piece of bone in your ankle?
Oh, dude,
Oh yeah, no, I've broken.
What?
I've broken
remember
my.
when your shoulder was out of place, like and
Yeah, I
like sticking
remember.
out?
No, I've gotten.
I've had it out of
No,
place.
we've
before.
you know what? Let's do that as the next question. Like, what's our worst injuries?
Injury, yeah.
I think I got knocked out unconscious. I had like a gash in the back of my head. That was pretty bad. But I do have like 3 broken bones in my left foot, but they've healed. But it was a bone that was sticking out. No, it was painless, but yeah, that was the worst.
Skateboarding is like it's for the brave, man. You just have to be
Yeah.
willing to eat it.
Yeah.
My worst injury, probably dislocating my elbow. It feels so weird. I actually felt weirder than breaking my arm. I actually breaking
Did it
both
take
these
a while, like
bones.
for your minds to realize, like, hey, I'm actually fucked up right here? Or
It takes like
because I know
like 10
you
seconds.
usually have like the adrenaline rush that like helps you out, but then like once it kicks in, like that's
It takes like 10 seconds for you to actually start realizing it. At the beginning, it's flight or fight, so you're trying to get somewhere
Yeah,
to get
yeah.
help. You're not thinking about the injury. You don't even think about it at all. But, that's my
Fun
worst
fact.
injury.
Fun fact, just real quick. I think there's one thing you guys don't know about me. Back home, I actually used to use a scooter. Yeah, I used to use a scooter. I know. I like scooters,
I'm
bro.
sorry.
Like I thought those were sick, but what's
Sorry,
it called?
guys, you have to hear that.
I just what I
Hey, we'll
mean.
edit
I
that
like
out.
scooters.
We'll
That's
edit
like
that
the only
out.
thing I had. But other than that, I know it's like the most poser thing to do. But I used to bring a scooter to the skate park, and like I thought that was cool as heck.
Ooh. Did they bully you or what?
No, actually, I had a good amount of like scooter friends as a kid, and I was like a
okay.
tiny kid though.
The scooter gang.
I mean, there's just
Scooter gang.
one. Like, I guess like there are skateboarders in LA that they would bully you if you had a scooter.
Actually, I don't frown upon scooters unless you don't have skate etiquette or you don't have skate park etiquette because
Yeah,
a lot of scooter kids are little
Just goes
kids
to the
and they
park
just
to
get
leave
in
it
the
in the
way.
middle.
yeah.
And we have some edits because we have a page called Loveless.
Mhm.
Shout out, Loveless.
And it's a skate page where we all post our little skate clips. There's like 2-3 videos where there's just kids going like that, and they get in your way, and that's why I don't like that. But there's actually some really good people that are really good at scootering, and they can
scootering.
jump down some big stuff, you know.
And for some reason, I always sprain my ankles
Dude, for
like
real.
every time. But I think a bunch of injuries I've had is definitely I guess dislocated both of my knees.
Oh yeah.
At the same time. The first time hurt really bad, but after a few times, it doesn't really hurt that much.
Do you get used to it after all, like the pain or no?
No,
No,
And
okay.
you-
it
Kinda
hurts every
don't.
time, but not as much.
It's not
I
like you
hated
get used
twisting
to
my ankles.
pain. You just
I hate
are
it.
willing to take it. You know.
No, yeah, because I was
Yeah.
like back then I used to be in football, so like I would see like people like I remember some guy, I think his name was Adrian. He got tackled and like this bone just like
Mm.
like it was still like
open
it popped,
fracture.
like yeah, kind of like fractured, but like since it was like stone and skin, like you see like the skin like stretching out, and you'd see like the bone just like right there.
Mine came
Yeah.
out. Mine came out through here. I actually broke skin,
Oh shit, okay, you broke.
and they
My
call it
pinky finger's so weird.
compound fracture.
Oh damn, how did that one happen?
Dude, I remember when that happened. We're just gonna go to a Stripes.
Can,
and
can you
we're-
like can you like pick up a little bit more towards like the screen, like the camera?
Oh,
So
yeah,
I can-
I
I
don't
really
think-
see it.
I'm pretty sure it was
Hey,
women.
bro, why are you flicking them off, man?
I have to.
I don't think there's been a more random injury than that one. We're already done skating. We're gonna go to Stripes. He's like, oh, the red curve. Tries to do we're trying to do back 50 on it.
I was trying to slap you, but it was like, what was it, like 3 a.m., 5 a.m.? All the dew was on the curb.
Mhm.
So I tried to slap you onto it, which is like a grind. And I, some reason, just missed my board and slipped backwards.
Oof.
Flew straight into the curb like this.
You can literally tell.
And then I called my dad. I was like, hey, I just broke my finger. He's like, all right.
yeah.
I'll see you tomorrow.
I'll see you tomorrow.
Like,
Nah.
Yeah, whatever.
He's like,
Remember
all right, well, you
when
still
I
have
was
to
at
mow the lawn
Mayberry?
tomorrow.
Remember when I was at Mayberry and I like didn't do. I literally was on that little ramp thing, and I like stepped off, and I fractured my foot by just stepping
Oh
wrong.
yeah, it was
All
the pyramids. The
There's
little
this
pyramid.
knee height little pyramid. You can ride up it. All I did was I rode up it. I thought I was gonna slip, so I just jumped off my board. That's it. Landed on the ground perfectly. I felt something pop in my foot, and I guess the way I landed and the physics, it fractured the middle of my foot, and I couldn't walk for like a week.
Yeah,
That was dumb.
The ankle and foot injuries are.
And I didn't know
you
it
can't
was
even count them,
fractured.
bro.
I didn't know it was
Yeah.
fractured. I still walked on it and everything until years later that I got an X-ray, and my podiatrist thought, like, "What the hell? Are you like a kickboxer? Like, why is your foot broken in 3 different places?" And I'm like, "I used to skate." He's like, "Well, you fractured it in 3 different places, but they healed. But that's weird."
Yeah, he
I'm
had
like,
a
"I
lot
don't know why
of
you're judging me,
injuries.
bro. Like, who cares? Like, you're getting my money anyways."
It's because we never know because we never go to hospitals.
Ask for the
Oh,
judgment.
I-
Just
I-
tell me
yeah.
what the fuck's
I've
wrong
gotten
with
so
me.
many injuries where I don't go to the hospital. But there's one time also that I went and they told me I had a bunch of injuries that had just
Yeah.
stacked and they just healed. You know,
And
But-
that's just how skating is. It's very skating inherently is punk. That's how it
Yeah.
started, and it's always been outsider. Even if like skating had a boom in 2020, even when it was big, me and Caleb and Alex always had an attraction towards skating because how punk it was and how different it was in terms of the style, the aesthetic, the image, and that's kind of how also it ties into our music because like skating, we just love skating and we just, regardless if it's popular or not, we just want to skate and we want to create new things. Same with music, regardless if post-hardcore becomes popular tomorrow
Yeah.
or no one listens to it, it just dies completely. We're still gonna make post-hardcore music.
Where do you think that rebellious spirit comes from? Because you specifically
Yeah.
mentioned a little bit earlier that you like finding out why things are unpopular and you still go towards it. Where do you think
Oh,
that
yeah.
comes from?
I don't know. Maybe I really don't know. Honestly, it could be something like psychologically as a kid, but I've always been interested in stuff. If something is lame, I'm like, why is it lame? And I become hyper obsessed with it. I used to have OCPD as a kid, and I used to hyper obsess over things.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how it was with like with shoegaze. It's like, what is this genre? Where did it come from? And why is it so underground? And
Mhm.
that's what attracted me towards that genre. So I don't know really.
it's curiosity, right?
Yeah,
It's
you Caleb, like
curiosity.
what makes you
It kills the cat.
inclined to like discover things and really become good at it?
man. I mean, with music, I just love pushing limits. That's
Mm.
the best feeling is when you find something
Discovery.
that you like. Damn, I've never done this before. Or I don't think I've heard this. Let me try to implement it.
Yeah, now that I think about it, it's discovery. I've always had like a fascination with discovering unknown things.
Mm-hmm.
So if something is not popular, there's probably more to be desired from it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So that's for me, it's like discovering something new and trying to bring it into a different, making something out of nothing pretty much.
Mm-hmm. No, that makes sense. You really do need a lot of curiosity to be creative.
Exactly, yeah.
For me, like I know like when it comes to like, the interview, when people ask me like, why do I do that? For me, I think it's because I did the whole psychological thing where I'm like, okay, why do I care? Part of it comes from like when I was growing up, like my father wasn't like super supportive. And sometimes he could be like physically abusive. Like I went through all that stuff. So a big question in my mind was kind of like, why is he like that? Like why is he that way? Because when you think of a father or a parent or anything like that, you try to think of like they're supposed to be the most supportive person, the most loving person. So I guess it naturally came into like, why does he do what he does? Eventually, like once I got older, like I started realizing like, hey, his stepfather was abusive towards him. So it's kind of like that chain of, you kind of like pick up the behavior from as a kid, and then like you try to like, even if you try to go against it, like no matter what you say, like you end up somewhat recreating that trauma. And so it got me really curious with people just in general, like, okay, why do people do the things they do? And I guess that's where like the interviewing comes from.
You're right about that. The recreating, and that's how new music is invented.
Yeah.
Because you subconsciously start trying to strive to do something like what you saw over here, but you try to recreate it into something better or something new. You know, because we make post-hardcore and we have inspirations, but we don't do the exact same thing. Of course, right?
Yeah.
We try to add our own aspects into it, you know, and it all started with curiosity, like how is this music created, or why do people make this music, and it turned into now I'm making it, and I'm making something
Yeah.
new out of it.
And it's also a lot of people just, you said that when you try to ignore, like you try to go against what your parents did, or I'm not like that, but eventually like those behaviors kind of become subconsciously ingrained,
Yeah.
and you reflect it even when you're not doing it. And I think it's inevitable psychologically that's going to happen to everyone unless you actually delve deep down into why you do this.
That's exactly it.
And that's how I am, because I feel like a lot of people, like, they have passions, they have interests, but because of society or because of it's not cool or it doesn't make money, they simply don't explore it. And I feel like if everyone were to really kind of look internally, psychologically, of what interests them and kind of try, like you said, to reevaluate, why do I like this and why am I not chasing it, then I feel like a lot of people would actually discover their actual passions. Because that time with music, that's why I learned theory, because I liked music so much that I was just curious, like, why does this chord progression sound so beautiful and what makes it beautiful? And I just kept doing more research, and eventually I found my passion, which is music. So
Well, for me, these guys put in better words than I could have, for sure. But I really like the discovery and the passion. And my brothers really helped me with that, because I'm from Cleveland, Ohio. And I always grew up around that post-hardcore skateboarding music scene.
The whole Midwest is really popular with that. Yeah.
And I don't know. I've had bands like Armor for Sleep in my basement, my old house, some emo bands. And I was just always around that, and I've always wanted to be like that.
How is that? Because that seems like a really cool experience where you can have like a bunch of bands in your basement. If you try that here in the valley, you're gonna hit water because we can't have basements here.
Yeah.
So people do the house shows.
My dad told me this story because I was still young at the time. I still have memories and stuff, which is why it's so engraved into me, why I love it so much. But we had a band named Sunny Day Real Estate come to our house.
Oh shit, for reals?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
And the bassist actually gave my dad a CD, like one of their first CDs.
Diary, I love that band.
And
That's actually kind of wild.
yeah, pretty cool.
What were you guys talking about?
We're talking about
I think Marlon has something to say.
Oh no, I'm good.
Some bars to spit. No,
Yeah, bars to spit.
we're pretty.
No, I'm good.
I think you guys are hitting the nail right on its head.
Yeah, right now we're talking about
the
discovering-
psychology behind passion.
Well, that's the
psych-
psychology part too.
Yeah, and
Go for it.
go for it, bro.
Well, I mean, just as well as like how Alex was saying, the whole discovering and the unfolding of even learning a song or even just remembering its lyrics, even something simple like that is, like, I feel like it's a relationship that you grow, or like this little connection, like feedback, and well, as you are giving it its time, like it's giving back to you like a whole different like knowledge of the songs writing, its melody, or even just how to play it. Like, even no one can ever play a song too many times and not perfect it over, like, even more than they ever thought after plenty amount of shows. I'm sure even like probably the biggest artists feel that way as well. I'd say, yeah.
I know you like Gojira, bro.
I'd say like even like before drums, I mean, my first instrument is guitar, and even I know when I'm first learning a song and when I'm looking at the chord sheets or even the tabs, they really, it just feels like the satisfaction that you get when you like accomplish that and you like obtain it. It's really satisfactory, and it's I think it's part of like our gift, like, you know, like that we can learn stuff. I mean, anybody.
You should mention
I mean-
like your favorite, biggest influences in music, because we already mentioned that.
For example, for me, like even growing up, the most simplest thing was probably Red Hot Chili Peppers, and then from there I went on to Rage Against the Machine, picking up more like actual effects, learning how to like equalize your sound, how to make it better, how to use the equipment you have, and even know what each one of those effects would do for you, or what you can do with it. Like Tom Morello, like that's one of the other like artists that like used a lot of effects, as well as what is this? Uh, After that, for me, it was probably like King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard.
Billy Corgan was one of the
Yeah.
pioneers too from the Smashing
Yes,
Pumpkins.
the
He used a lot
Smashing
of
Pumpkins
fuzz, a
as
lot of
well,
flanger.
all that like overdriven, like over the top, like fuzz sounds, especially delays, like just random delay, analog times that they like figured out, or like like panned out, that now like many use as like reference to like, hey, I could have used this in this song. From there it was just like, it would be Gojira, like for drums, like all that like progressive and just always like changing while like on the next verse, even though it's the same verse back, like, you can always add a different taste to it, have a different approach to it. Artists like that, like including Mudvayne, especially for me, is like, I feel like that's what makes me play the way I play, because I listen to them and I don't think that like they would enjoy to like hear the same simple rock 8 beats,
Yeah.
just
Yep.
in the same bars, or like, okay, like it changed from one part. Yeah, you can always improve like simple stuff like that, like there's never anything wrong with that. All I mean is like sometimes a lot of people's ears aren't the same, and I mean we all have like the ones that know.
The ones that don't know. The ones that know.
no.
The ones that know.
No. Oh, yeah. I think that's a good point. And we do that too in our music. We don't like to keep everything just straight. We like to add little changes. We like to add if the first verse didn't have this sound, well, the second verse does have this extra synthesizer or strings like violins, cellos, piano. And the first verse was straight, and then this one's not. Or this one does have a little synthesizer, and this one doesn't have the synthesizer, but it has another instrument. Or like you said, the drum patterns. First verse is like this, second verse is like this. I think that's really cool, and with the FX too.
Yeah, because I think that goes back to what's called on discovering when when we're really curious. So it's to a point where it's like when Nathan says we can't keep this thing like the same thing, of course, and just have a routine. It gets quite mundane, of course. So it's quite fun, and honestly, it gives us like a purpose to constantly change things up, find something that sounds really new or something really weird or experimental. Hence why, like I said before, we're grateful that we wake up and then just constantly just make something new. And so that's what's so cool about of the music scene and or music area is pretty much as it is, honestly, because um most of the parts I'm mostly influenced in terms of music gratitude is one of the top, not top, but well-known music jazz musician Chick Corea. I'm pretty sure Caleb, you know Chick Corea, right? you know One philosophy he would say is it's the fact that the freedom to make music is what gives you purpose, of course. So it's just the fact that you wake up, you get to create and this canvas of whatever you want to make. So I think that's what's really really nice to know, because a lot of people would just don't realize that, hey, you're making music for this, or you're making music to what's it called for that. Some people nowadays they make music for money, and it's not a very good feeling.
Or image.
I stopped, and I will admit this, way back then when I was barely getting into music. I was getting into making beats and selling, selling beats on the market.
Yeah.
It started from I believe in high school, where they would give out these Chromebooks. I remember you were there, right? They were giving out these
Yeah.
Chromebooks, and I believe in sixth grade, or I think fifth grade, I was learning the concept of already like how to put music into the software, of course.
Mhm.
Mixing and engineering, I started around like freshman, of course, but I started making beats to a point where it's like that's crazy.
What?
It was what's it called, to a point where to a point where I was selling beats, and I remember one time I was sitting at lunch, and we were what's it called like in a cafeteria, and I believe I was sitting at a table, and I was making a beat on a Chromebook before, and this is one time I believe there's this one kid. I remember Joe. Joe, what's it called? The
Joe
guy that
Biden?
wanted to rap or something like that. I don't remember.
Oh, Joe, Ballard.
I think so. Yeah, that guy.
Jose
So
Ballard,
I
yeah.
remember that guy, dude. He would want to like he heard me making a beat off like I was at lunch or
wait,
something
no,
like
I
that.
remember
And
now. Remember now.
I think I sold my first beat for like $15 that day just for the fun of it,
something, though.
honestly.
That's
And that was something, honestly. But despite that, honestly, in the very beginning, I had this mindset of where it's like I'm gonna make music for money, and it's a really really bad mindset because most in the industry nowadays is that people wake up and think, yeah, I'm gonna make music for money because I'm gonna get my family out the hood. By all means, go for it. But when you're stressing out, and where that's just where also comes in a purpose, I think that your purpose and passion should replace the mindset of making music for money. Honestly, is where you're gonna end up being stressed, and when you're stressed as heck, you're not gonna be really make good music when you're stressed, of course, or there's a mindset of, hey, I gotta get this shit done, I gotta get it done already. So it's like, I think that's where passion comes in, of course. So that's what really gives a great value towards anything, by all means.
Yeah, I think passion brings purpose, and then purpose brings drive, and just use that, and everything else might follow. It may not, but just keep doing it. Doesn't matter if it's paying off right now or if it's not or whatever.
So what drives you guys then when it comes to the band? Like what is your purpose? What do you feel that's
Me, it's the message of music, and the projection. What can you show somebody? That's gonna move them. Like, oh dang, I like this here. It made me feel this way. Or and with lyrics is I felt this way too. You want to make people be in your music, like they are you in that place. And that's what motivates me. It's the message and the idea that you might change someone's life in a positive way.
Yeah, I'm the same way with Caleb too as well. And most also the time where I make music to the point where I love being in the presence of the aesthetic that you're giving. For example, most artists out there give out this pretty aesthetic, for example, gloomy or dark or melancholic or euphoric, and I love that type of aesthetic to be present around, of course. And it's what's it called, gives you how would I explain it? It would give you some sort of representation of yourself. For example, if you're like, My Bloody Valentine, you're one of those what's called cool people, and that's what gives you that awesome aesthetic. And that's where I love making music, to be in the presence of that. It's just a cool feeling to be even part of it, honestly.
They're gonna hit the second tower.
Oh,
That's crazy. That's crazy. Holy smokes. Yeah,
The
bro.
third one, you're right, dude.
Bismillah.
They're going after the Chiefs Tower.
the Chase Tower.
And the Chase is in Frost, don't forget.
For me, I really
This is-
I love my instrument. Guitar is my favorite. I like making melodies that make you feel some type of way. That's one of my favorite things. It's weird how that works. I always found that really cool.
For me, it's just reciprocating that love back. The same feeling when I first discovered bands that I really liked. I think certain people are more attracted to lyrics, while I'm someone that's more attracted to sound. That's why I like shoegaze. That's why I like bands that focus on sonic qualities. I want to leave the studio and go to bed knowing that I made something that could possibly affect someone's life or could be timeless, regardless if it gets money or not. It's just that feeling of I made something that I'm proud of, and keep pushing the boundaries, trying to discover new forms of maybe possibly new genres, and who knows. So
I'd say the biggest part for all of us would be it's really about putting ourselves to the test,
True.
of what we really can do, what we're able to create, what we're able to build together, and how far we're able to take it. I think that's that's what drives our instruments, our recording sessions. And honestly, I feel like every song recently has really made us understand what we really want with this and how we want us to sound.
And I don't know that which accomplishment of whether it be like whether it be as a musician or just as a band, whatever, have you been most proud of? Like which accomplishment, like right now, like you know what, this is great. We're going in a good direction, and I'm freaking proud that we're doing this now.
I mean, honest for me, it's being able to actually record and get those frequencies saved on a file, and
There's
it
not
actually
a lot of bands
yeah.
here in the valley. Like some of these bands don't even have recorded music yet.
Yeah.
So like the fact that you guys just have that, it's great.
Yeah, a lot of people don't have recordings, or like they're still like getting their way around it. We honestly are like really thankful we have Marlon.
Facts.
Between
Marlon's
all
the
of us,
goat.
I mean, either way, we have our knowledge of how things should sound, how we want it to sound, and how
The cold front kicking in.
we can
Yeah.
how we can approach it.
I didn't even know we are getting a cold front until now.
I'm real grateful for getting the opportunity to play shows.
That's true. I think. Do you want to continue or what else?
No, you can go.
No, you go. No, you go. Nah, like for real. My bad.
No, the opportunity to play shows is really good. A lot of bands don't really get hit up like that, and I just think it's real cool. And also, getting to record with Marlon is really cool. We get to make our own sound.
For me, I'm just I'm happy to be friends with people that are talented and have are at such a caliber that we could actually create music. From Caleb, he's very knowledgeable about composing, which I used to suck at. Caleb can literally come up with a composition on the spot, a progression, an idea, and just put it onto paper, and it works really well. Alex, like Alex said, very good at writing melodies, writing interesting progressions, different metrics. That's super cool. Nathan's obviously really good at drumming, and also he has influences that he adds into the band. And Marlon, of course, sound engineer, producer, mixer, and he also plays multiple instruments. So I'm just grateful to be with the band that has these talents, has these capabilities that we could all put onto an actual sound, like Nathan mentioned. So that's what I'm most proud of.
Yeah, and I think it's a great thing that not only are you driven in terms of music, but you have like side hobbies like the skateboarding, where you're constantly challenging yourself.
Yeah.
Because some people, they can become stagnant, and if you have a group of friends who are also stagnant, things can fall apart really quick. And the fact that you guys are constantly trying to like one up yourselves personally, I mean, that's great. Like never lose that.
Yeah, that's the key to any band's thrive, is instead of fighting or who deserves more pay, it's just how can we create a better song, a better EP, a better album. What's the next big thing?
Yeah, I think it's such a privilege to be able to make music and to be able to put it out there for someone to listen. I think a lot of bands that have not been able to do that, they wish they could, and it's hard, man. It's hard.
Not only is it hard, but it's also very expensive.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And we're lucky that we have Marlon, and the way we work with each other, we compensate each other as, hey, like he helps us, and then we'll compensate him back, or we'll help him like get a plug-in or a microphone.
I like pedals.
Yeah, and pedals, and we
I
give him
like
pedals.
pedals.
So that's how we work with each other, and I feel like we wouldn't even need it. I feel like we wouldn't even have to pay him. He told me it was gonna be free the first time we started recording, but I was like, nah, like
Free?
yeah.
I don't know about that, bro. I'm charging you. Your invoice is coming right now, bro.
No, you told me.
I'm scamming you, bro.
He's charging you for the podcast.
Yeah,
He
I'm
told
sure-
me it was gonna be free, but I told him no.
Yeah.
I told him no.
Yeah, so like I said, like I don't do it for the money. I just do it for the fun of it and the passion for it. So it's like, when Caleb came to me for, creating his album, I was like, this is my also opportunity for me to grow, and I'm grateful that Caleb was there for that. Because if it wasn't for Caleb, For me to grow wouldn't be possible, honestly. To expand and be adverse and adapt to where it's called a to where my mixing skills can actually grow and grow. So it was a really awesome opportunity. So I was like, you know what? Let's do it. Let's run it. I'm gonna take this. And there were a little bit of fallbacks, when it came to not perfecting it, and but that's the whole hardship of growing when it comes to becoming a musician or an artist or an engineer. And I think that's the art. I rather would honestly would go through the hardships going through that, because imagine you have everything, you got your Grammy and this and that, but what's next? What's after that? That's where purpose comes in. And it's the ideology of being in the presence of with these people and growing together is what really matters, and it's what gives you purpose. Because like I said before, if you're given everything else, what's next? You're just gonna
kinda
be
get
bored
spoiled
as
by life. in a way.
exactly. So once you get everything else in life, it's just what's the next move. So it's honestly good that we're eating shit on purpose and this and that to see what it's like, so we can see that experience those hardships. So that's what I'm really grateful mostly about, though. So I don't know. It's just it's mostly the times where it's like I'm with these guys and it's like, hey, let's work on some stuff right now. Let's just work and let's just see what we can make. And that's the whole art of it. That's the whole beauty of it. And that's what I really like about it, honestly. So it's just that. And I like sounds going to pedals. That's it. I like sounds and pedals, bro. I like
pedals.
pedals.
Yeah, he likes pedals, I think.
Boom.
Well, be careful with that one. That might get clipped.
Oh,
Clip that chat. Clip that.
you're
Clip that.
getting clipped, bro.
We're big fans of pedals.
I like pedals. Yeah, I like
Yeah.
pedals. I like pedals. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I super go with that. Because we've had people tell us like, "Dang, like I wish you guys would have recorded this in a big studio or something like that." But
Oh
it's like,
yeah.
I like the idea that we're working with whatever we can,
Mhm.
and it's just raw,
Yeah.
Uh,
It's the
it's
whole
not-
spirit of DIY.
Oh yeah.
DIY,
100%.
and we get to do it with our friends. So I think that's the coolest thing,
Yeah, because you're able to help, like how you mentioned that you guys are able to like help each other out and increase your skills. Because again, that work experience is more valuable than money.
I think what
After a
really
while.
grows a band into its most potential, what I really think is it all goes down to the root of people's individual and their egos. And so all of us have something in common where we set our egos aside and we're like, hey, I'm not perfect. I need help with this. Like, can you help me with something that I need to learn? And that's where Caleb comes in, Alex, Max, and Nathan. I learned a lot with drums, for example, and I was like, I don't know how to set up a throne, or I don't know how to tune a snare, or what's it called? What's it called? Me getting introduced to shoegaze, of course, and everything. But what sets everything and what's the root of most bands not becoming their full potential is their egos and setting them aside.
Yeah,
To
there's plenty of
grow.
examples of that.
And so it's like, it's always good to be open-minded of what you think or what you have. It's mostly about knowing your place. If you're not in a position where you think, oh, hey, like, I know more than this and that, like, you know everything, I get it, but have you released any music, or have you put something out there? Have you grown into a better person or a musician? Because anybody can know all these things, but that's where their
Yeah,
egos get in a way, of course.
I agree with that. I feel like fools say they know it all, and wise people listen.
Exactly.
They don't let themselves stay stuck here. They always want to learn something new, regardless of their high knowledge of something.
And I'm
You
really
know?
sorry to say, and it's just with us, we're not sugarcoat people. We're no yes people. We say what's the truth. We say what's right. If we see something that's wrong, we'll say the truth. And most bands nowadays are very secluded into that isolation, because maybe
People just don't want to hurt each other's feelings, and that's where it comes from.
and that's also respectable too, in a way where it's like, hey, I don't want to hurt this individual's feelings or this and that. So it's understandable too.
Yeah,
as well,
I think,
so.
but I do agree that there's a detriment to that, where if you're not telling people like how they're messing up because you don't want to hurt their feelings, then they're always going to keep continuing those
Yeah.
mistakes.
What's no excuse for anybody to grow as a person is it's manageable. It's very, very manageable to the point where it's like, if you want to grow to become a better person and a better musician, that's where you have to be open minded and set aside everything that you guys think that's gonna really think it's an obstacle when you're growing. So, yeah, I think that's the root of most bands where if you really want to grow, set aside your egos and be open minded to what you think is right. Because if somebody what I learned a lot when I when I had clients and started getting to producing with other songs with other people, that ideology of like, "Man, I don't want to hurt this person's feelings, but I'm sorry, I have to say the truth. It's not gonna sound good, or maybe your voice is not it." But like I said before, it's very, very manageable and it's no excuse that you can deliver that message quite easy. And that's what most bands have trouble nowadays. That's just truth. And also not just bands, it's just people in general when it comes to writing music, of course. And so despite the drive and everything, it's the people that you're with that reflect on yourself, of course. It really reflects everything around you. So like I always go by one saying is that whatever energy you give, you're gonna get it back. It's just quite simple. So, your ego and your pride is the root can actually really put a detrimental effect towards people. It just depends on how you use it, and depends on how you what's it called how would I say it? Implement it on your music, of course. So, um, that's how we all of us just grow up because we want to provide a message, we want to put the message out, and we want to see how where it can come from. Hence why it goes back to what we're saying, discovery, because we're very curious. We want to see how this comes out, so we're willing to put in that much work. Is that what we're saying? It's pretty much.
No, yeah, I agree with all of that. I mean, it really is about finding the tools that you have within yourself, not just the tools you're able to use, but like within yourself
It's a very great attribute. Yeah.
and use it in a positive way. Because again, everybody has their own like quirks and whatever you picked up on childhood. Like for me, like obviously there's like a lot of anger, and I know sometimes people think like I'm mad all the time because like I have like a very serious face. I'm not, but
Oh, you're good.
huh?
No, you're good. You're
No,
good.
no, no. Like when I used to work at Home Depot, like some people would like they would complain to my manager saying like, oh, like he's always angry when he's helping us, and they would explain like, no, he's not angry. Like he just looks like that. Like he has a serious face, and but the thing is, the point is like, I know I have all this energy, all this anger, but like it's about using it in the correct way, and just being and using it as a finding a positive outlet for it. So like if you have sadness, depression, love, anger, any of these emotions, it's a good thing that you guys found music to express it in a positive way as opposed to other methods.
Shattered Stories, that's the name. We all have a shattered story.
Where does it also how did the name come up?
It was me and Alex. It took like 2 years for us to actually come up with a band name. We had a bunch of random names blurred out, whatever, right? But that one has meaning to us because me and him have gone through adversities at the same time, you know, and regardless of how bad they were, it's just a story in the end, you know.
Yeah, we all do.
It might be bad, like a shattered story, right? It might be bad or it might sound bad, but it can bring good things. I think suffering is relative to growth. So that's why the name is Shattered Stories, because we've gone through adversities together.
And we take all that and we put it into music.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And you tell your story through a song.
no, yeah, I agree with that. I mean, that's the two things that religious people and people who go to the gym realize, that there's always going to be suffering, and you need that suffering to go through growth. Because on a physical
Exactly.
level, when it comes to like working out, either you go through the physical discomfort of working out, or you're going to go through the physical discomfort of illnesses that come with not working out. When it comes to the religious experience, people often say like, you got to suffer, because as a person, that's the only way you grow. You don't grow by winning. You grow by, like you said, like eating shit and all that stuff. Like that's
Yeah.
how you grow as a person.
Yeah, and that's how the name came out, and that's what our music is about. Our lyrics are all about real things that happen to us, and it's uplifting. It's about overcoming. It's about power, and it's about walking through fire. It's about all those things. It's about the ugly things, about good things, and that's why we make music for, so that people can relate and they can not feel alone.
What about
Yeah.
you guys?
I think Caleb said it perfectly. That's how it came to be. I don't think I'd say anything different.
So
That's
I
the
don't want to,
story.
yeah, I don't want to take up too much of your time because I know like you guys have when you guys have work, it's already gonna be 6:30. So I guess the last question I asked is where do you guys want to go from here? Like, what's your next goal for as a band?
Grammy. I'm sorry. I'm just kidding.
Grammy?
Grammy. No kidding.
No, I think we want to just keep producing music, get as good as we can. Try to get some more shows up there, like San Antonio. Start
Ready
making
for
our
the
way.
big leagues.
Start making our way upstate.
Yeah.
Eventually out of state. And out of country. Oh,
Our
That'd be cool.
our main goal is also to expand our sound very greatly, to sound the best that we can. Of course, first impression is what really carries on, of course. So I think that really matters. But most of the time, we just want to keep making music as much as we can. So till the end of time, of course. But what's it called? Yeah, I feel like our goal is to keep what Caleb wants, to keep that message and the vision stable for everybody to see is what we're doing. I think you'd want to say more about that. I don't want to speak for you in that way.
No, yeah, for from now, what he said, we want to expand our music, make more music, and get out of here. In the valley, we're kind of stuck here, and I feel like our music is not really crazy down here. I feel like not
There's a
many
bigger
people.
crowd for us.
Have you guys looked into your Spotify to find out like which cities are most listened to?
Yeah, San Antonio, and
I can help you guys
Oh,
out
really?
with that.
I didn't even
Oh,
remember
really?
none of
Thank
that.
you.
all
Yeah.
right, because
We can talk about it afterwards, but I'll help you
yeah,
guys out.
thank you. Because we've been wanting to play out here. There was actually a label that hit us up. I'm not gonna say names, but they dropped us, but they ghosted us. They didn't tell us anything, and they replaced
just
us for another band,
2024.
And
Yeah.
it's just what it is.
It is
right?
what it is.
But
yeah.
it was gonna be our first time playing out of the valley, but we do want to. Like, that's not gonna tell us like, dang, like we're not gonna go then. Like, we
No,
still gonna
never
keep
give up.
going
Yeah,
until
no.
we get more shows out there.
Again, like if everybody did that, like nothing would get done. Like I have gotten bands have rejected me when it comes to like booking shows. Sometimes you get ghosted. Sometimes they'll like answer questions and then like they just go out of nowhere and it's
Yeah,
like,
they just
Yeah,
disappear.
it's
disappear.
just the modern age with texting. It's just people ghost. It's just it makes sense biologically why people would do that. Like, why would you not want to confront some most people don't like confrontation.
yeah.
Ghosting is just that caveat that most people do. We don't do that. That's lame. But Nathan does that a little bit. Yeah. But no, from here,
Yeah, we've had to stand up for ourselves. We do not.
yeah, because if you're a band, you got to be professional regardless of your genre. And to be professional, you don't just not respond to someone, even if it's no thank you, just response.
We're like, hey, sorry, we can't. That's it.
Exactly. From here, musically, perfect our sound, try and hone our abilities as well as musicians, and try and really, really hybridize our sound, because although we love post-hardcore, who knows, maybe a lot of bands start their first album is completely different from where they are now in as musicians. So to keep pushing the genres, keep blending them, and always just trying to be better as musicians. And from a growth standpoint, of course, we'd like to play San Antonio shows that are much bigger, more audiences, because of course down here, it's post-hardcore isn't booming, and
Yeah.
probably I don't think it ever was really. So that would be nice to play in areas where people actually love post-hardcore.
Well, I wish you guys the best of luck. I see a lot of potential in you guys. Even before, like I met you guys in person, like I would watch you guys from the sidelines. Just like you guys immediately caught my interest. There's
Thank you.
there's a lot of stuff you guys are doing right,
Thank you so much.
whether you realize it or not. I hope you guys go as far as you guys can.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
So if you guys want to plug in anything right now, like your social media, your music, go for it.
We're Shattered Stories with 2 S's on Instagram, and I think we're just Shattered Stories on TikTok. We have Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, Pandora, you name it. We're on every social media. We just released a song called The Street Recital, and you should check it out. Hopefully you like it, and thank you so much for tuning in to the podcast. Peace.
I like pedals.
There you go. He likes pedals.
He likes pedals.
Bye.
I want pedals.